Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Krissa Johnny, the Instructional Development Officer at the college. I'm typically responsible for the review and development of programs at the college, ensuring that the courses and programs that you're doing are current and valuable for whatever profession or career you decide to pursue. So please allow me to share my screen. Okay, great. So this afternoon, I will be sharing on your online and interaction, and we will begin with 2 photos. Are you ready? So I would like about 2 to 3 persons to tell me which of the pictures resonate with you as you prepare for your journey with the Arthur Lewis Community College. Okay, I'm seeing Eric.
Go ahead, Eric. You raise your hand. The chat is, most people in the chat are saying B.
Okay, they're saying B. So I would like to know why. Okay, I'm seeing Kyle King's hand is raised.
Okay, Kyle, go ahead.
A. I choose A.
Okay, can you tell me why? Or share with us?
Because I want to be in like a new environment because I've heard a lot about SAFA and I've heard that it can really help you. So I'm really eager to start my journey to see what I could do with what I learned from there.
Okay, so you're enthusiastic, you're optimistic, so you're going with picture A. Thank you very much. Anybody else?
Ivana, go ahead. Ivana, go ahead.
It's Ivana. Okay, I have a mixture. I have a mixture of both A and B because why A? I'm excited to start this whole journey. You know, I am really excited, and B because of the whole protocol thing, and we cannot actually go to the compound. I was looking forward to actually going to the compound to have a feel of the actual college life.
So for that reason, you're looking at picture B.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. I will take one more person.
Amelia, go ahead.
I choose A because I have already adjusted to online learning even before I decided to attend SAFA because most of my subjects were practically online unless they were practicals. So to me, A, I will choose A. I used to it already.
Okay, thank you very much, Amelia. Okay, so thank you everyone for your responses. So yes, we will have persons who are totally optimistic, excited to begin the new journey. Some persons would have a mixture of the two, where they are optimistic, they are looking forward to the journey, but there will be some hesitancy in their feel towards what is expected of them. Yes, there are some persons who have just said, yes, it's been a year since we've been thrown into this unexpectedly, and the persons would have had to navigate, even at the secondary level, in some form of an online environment. So I do know that some persons have had some pretty good experiences, some persons didn't go very well, so they're still a bit hesitant as to what to expect even coming into the Arthur Lewis Community College. So all of your feelings are justified. We move to, I know some persons are wondering what would be the differences between online versus the face-to-face setting. And there are some questions you may be asking yourself, others, what it is you are to expect. So will it be the same as your face-to-face classroom? You may be wondering about that. Will you need to spend more time studying? Will your lecturer be there to help you? Will you be able to solve your problems when you need to? Will you still be able to work in groups? And what about those assignments that you have to submit? So let us go through each of these questions to see exactly what is expected in the online environment. So in some cases, the online environment would be the same as your face-to-face, and in some cases, no. Some persons, as Mr. Emmanuel indicated, those who are pursuing programs where there will be clinicals, where you have to be part of, maybe conduct labs and be part of workshops. Yes, you will be coming in to the physical campus on certain days. For those persons whose programs have courses that do not lend themselves to those kinds of scenarios or situations, most of the majority of your courses will be in the online environment. However, there are some tools within the platform that we use, the Moodle platform, that will make your experience in the online environment almost similar to that with the face-to-face setting. So you should fear not and just be very optimistic about the journey that you're preparing yourself for. Will you be spending more time studying? Again, that depends on what you will be doing, the program that you've enrolled in, the types of courses that you will be undertaking, and so on. Will your lecturer be there to help you? Yes, your lecturer should be your support system during your stay within the college for each of the courses that you undertake. Again, if you're faced with a situation where you think that you're not getting the support that is needed, you are to make contact with your program head so that these issues can be clarified very early in the game. Do not wait for the last minute to say that you will not be supported throughout the course. Will you be able to solve problems when you need to? Well, yes, the online environment has many elements that will help support your learning. And as you'll be introduced to that platform, if you're not familiar with it, you will realize that here we have the help desk. We have opportunities for you to contact. Also, there are different channels that you can use in order to communicate with your lecturers, your peers, and so on. Will you still be able to work in groups? Yes, collaboration is encouraged as much as possible in that environment. Remember, we're preparing you for 21st century skills, one of which is collaboration that is much needed in the workforce. So again, yes, collaboration, your group work is critical in the online environment. We don't want anyone left behind. So it is very important that early in the game, you get to know the persons you will be interacting with. Create some sort of support system, network as much as possible, so that in the end, you are not without a good support system. Your assignments how would you be submitting your assignments? Again, you would have a section where you would be able to submit your assignments online. In the event that you are unable to submit assignments online or within the time frame, it is expected that you would make contact with your lecturer as early as possible. If it is a case where for medical reasons, of course, it's expected that you would have to prepare or to submit some sort of documentation to support your claim so that the necessary guidelines or preferences can be given for you in such a situation. So we move on to how you go about managing your online interaction. And that is critical. Persons are wondering, how do we go about making our way through that online environment when we do not get to see persons face to face? So you may be asking, will you have enough time to do anything else, your extracurricular activities? And how will you ever keep up with what you need to do? So your time management becomes very critical here in the online environment. Remember, you are now transitioning for the persons coming straight from secondary school, where they will in the habit of having teachers give them deadlines or remind them of assignments coming up, begin at them constantly. You will find that this is not the case in the college environment. Okay, so it is the case that you would have to take some more responsibility for your learning. So as it relates to your study habits, you should build good study habits from the onset. If you're not in the habit of doing that, please, I advise you to make a schedule, determine how much time is needed for each course, Again, you may be entering into situations, programs, courses, subject areas that are new to you and that you would have to spend a little more time with compared to a subject that you're familiar with, something that you're passionate about. Remember, if you're already passionate about it, the information would stay or stick with you better, easier. So you would want to dedicate a little more time to those courses that you are having difficulty absorbing that information. So again, it all depends on how much time is needed for each course. And of course, first and foremost, you are responsible for your learning. Again, time management, you need to determine how much time you will spend online. Okay, when you have your live sessions to make yourselves available, when you have assignments to complete offline, you also want to determine how much of that time you will be spending offline. So there must be a balance between online work vis-a-vis offline work for assignments. How do you go about participating in activities? You should know when all your assignments are due, and that also includes activities such as posting in the discussion forums because they also have a due date. You should attend any live sessions, and of course, you should ensure that you have the necessary resources that are needed. And communication, critical in the online environment. You should notify your instructor of any issues or concerns that you have, and you should make use of the communication channels that are available to you on that online platform. Remember, do not want to wait until the end of the semester in order to speak about issues or concerns that you may have. Remember, in some cases, persons may be doing the modular format where they have 7 weeks. So you do not want to wait until the 5th, 6th week in order to say that there was something that was affecting you. Reach out as soon as possible. Different lecturers would have different communication channels available. Some may decide to use WhatsApp groups, others may choose not. However, you need to know which one. Every lecturer is different. Make use of the channels that are available to you in order to make contact with your lecturer. We'll just go through 2 scenarios briefly this afternoon. So the first one has to do with a discussion forum. And I would like you to let me know what would be the correct thing to do in the situation that is being presented. So a question has been posed in the discussion forum. Discuss the impact of COVID-19 on the St. Lucian economy. One student has responded to that question, Jaden, and he says, I think it will cause less tourists to come to St. Lucia. This would mean that some people will be out of a job. In response to Jaden, Maria has presented the following. Jaden, I think you are so wrong. Even though this actually happens, no one will lose their job. Total nonsense. So I will open up. If you feel free to let me know what you think would be the correct thing to do. And we're looking at Maria's response to Jaden. Remember the question does not lend itself to either right or wrong answer. It's a discussion. Jaden presented first and Maria is responding to Jaden. So we're focused on Maria's response to Jaden. Yes, Tia, you may go ahead.
It's okay to have a different opinion, but you have to be careful of how you type things. Like, for instance, the capital letters that could say that you are shouting and the exclamation points. You have to watch how you address certain things. It should be written in a manner where it's more like you disagreeing instead of having an argument. And her response seems to be very aggressive.
Okay, thank you very much, Maria, for that. Anybody else would like to comment? Ishma Shalri?
Hi.
Good afternoon.
I think we should all be able to respect each other's point of views on certain things, and be a little bit more mindful as to not just what we say, but how we say it.
Okay, anything else? How do you think Jaden would feel or would respond in relation to what Maria has said to him? Can you think of one way he would respond to that? Anybody can respond? Yes, Harold?
Go ahead, Joel.
I believe that Jaden will feel inferior to I believe Jaden would feel inferior to Maria, as she kind of makes him feel like he's dumb and he doesn't know what he's talking about and he's totally wrong.
Okay. And do you think he would be willing to participate in discussion forums in the future?
No, I don't think he would, because he would feel like what he's saying is invalid.
Thank you very much. Okay, and we can also look at the other end where if Jaden is somebody who is strong-willed, he may decide to take on Maria and respond to her in like manner. And then you would have this argument within that discussion forum, something that the lecturer would not have, that's definitely not what you're looking for. And we would end up with this back and forth because we have two strong-willed persons taking each other on, and that would not be the focus of the discussion forum. So our point here is that you need to be mindful of what is being said in the discussion forum. You need to be respectful of others. You need to respond appropriately. And like someone indicated, use of caps can be interpreted as shouting. And we can see here that Maria has, in some way or form, insulted Jaden, if you want to say, because maybe she told him that he is so wrong based on his response. Jaden may take that in the negative light. He may not respond in future, and that would lead to some sort of uneasiness within that online classroom. So thank you very much for those who responded. Let's move on to the second scenario, which has to do with emailing. So we have hotgirl360@gmail.com. who has a problem with a discussion question. And she sends the following email. Hi, Miss, I am having some serious problems understanding the discussion question. Can you help me? Jane. So can someone tell me what would be the correct thing to do at the presentation? From the email address, subject heading, body of the email.
Go ahead, Amelia.
Okay, so first of all, her email is not appropriate. If you're speaking to someone in authority, you need to have an appropriate or a more formal email. So hot girl will not be appropriate. It would be like she's talking to a friend of hers and she's not addressing somebody formally. And then the ending of her email where she put Jane, she can think of a better way to summarize it, maybe by saying regards Jane, and then she can put her position if it's a student, etc. But if she's speaking to someone in authority, she should at least address the teacher. And then first of all, she should be more specific about what exactly she doesn't understand, so that the person can have a better understanding of what exactly he or she should be helping her with.
Thank you very much. I will take one more person. Anything the previous person missed out?
We have no takers.
Okay. Well, she's very correct. First of all, the email address. If you're dealing with a lecturer or somebody at the college, hot girl. Who is hot girl? So at all times, you should be sending your correspondences via the email address assigned by the college, as long as you're dealing with anything to do, matters related to the college. Also, the subject heading should give some indication of what your email is about. And of course, the body, you want to be respectful. So hi would not be considered formal. So you want to say good day, miss, so whoever, and you want to give some succinct as possible with your query. What is it you don't understand, the problem, the issue that you're facing, so that the person can be in a better position to assist you. And of course, when you're ending, you should not just end with your first name, but you want to, because the lecturer may have several Janes to deal with. So you want to give your full name and possibly your student ID number or the program you are associated with. Okay, so these are our two scenarios on what is to be expected and how you should deal with it as it arises in the online setting. So we move on to some general Netiquette guidelines. Some of them would be repetitious in various settings. So the first one, you want to use language that is clear as much as possible, in fact, at all times, which would allow others to understand exactly what it is you're saying. You want to ensure that your language, your spelling, your grammar is appropriate for the college level. And that includes avoiding slang and texting abbreviations, such as just a letter U, instead of using, or in fact, you should be using the proper spelling, which is the Y-O-U. And another example would be using F-O-R or F-O-U-R instead of the number 4. You want to avoid using all caps, as we saw in the scenario, because it can be interpreted as shouting. You also want to be cautious when writing your messages. You would like to reread them for tone and sarcasm. And I will tell you at this point, if you're going to respond to an email or if make a post in a discussion forum, when you're angry, I advise you to take some time away. If you've written a first draft, step away, give it a couple minutes, hours, cool off, come back, reread before you send that email, because you may not be aware of what it is that you wrote to begin with, or maybe your feelings would have changed as the time went on. So you want to reread emails, messages for your tone and sarcasm before sending. And of course, confidential information should be sent via email at all times. As it relates to email netiquette, you should only use the college-assigned emails for correspondence. Again, your subject line should be reflective of the email that you're sending. You want to be brief and to avoid rambling as much as possible. You should attach information only when necessary. Use plain text. You should end with a salutation and your name and student number. Before you send an email to more than one person, consider whether everyone needs to see that message. So if the lecturer has sent something out and we expect everybody will be responding, please, you can only respond to or click reply to the lecturer, not to reply all. Again, you need to be mindful of the context and the situation, so choose the appropriate response. And again, reread all emails before sending out to ensure that the message is written appropriately and conveys the intended message. As it relates to the discussion board netiquette, you want to make sure that you've done the appropriate preparation before making a post on the topic. You want to ensure that you read your instructions carefully, reread your contributions before posting, making all necessary edits before posting. Again, we're paying attention to language, grammar, and spelling. Make sure you give proper attribution, credit, and referencing when using images, pictures, and texting. So again, we want to ensure that all our sources are quoted. Read all messages in a thread.
Ms.
Yes,
Johnny,
Mr.
we have a
Emmanuel?
question from Faith.
Okay, go ahead, Faith.
Go ahead. Okay, she lowered her hand, so go ahead. Continue.
Okay, thank you. So you want to ensure that when you read all messages on a thread before replying to your peers, you want to be careful not to repeat someone else's contribution. Again, because of the discussion forums, many of them, if not most or all, would be graded. So you want to avoid replies such as, yes, I agree, because you will not get any marks for that. So you want to ensure that in your responses, you expand on what has already been posted. You want to add something new, or you want to include another question that would continue the conversation. So think about it as if you're having a face-to-face conversation with somebody and the person is only responding to you, yes, no, or I agree. You would feel like that there's no further contribution to the conversation to keep it going. You want to be respectful of others' opinions, even though you might not agree with their contribution. Again, if you are going to disagree with someone, you should avoid being disrespectful, and you to actually respond in a way that is enriching. You do not want to insult anyone or to make personal attacks, because we want to ensure that everyone is comfortable in the learning environment. You have to keep an open mind. Remember, we're coming from different backgrounds. We have different perspectives on topics. Person have different experiences, so you want to keep that in mind at all times. And to use the information and experience as a learning process. So at the end of the course, we want to ensure that everyone has new perspectives, everyone has enjoyed the learning experience, the journey, and to ensure that the courses that you are part of are enriching and fulfilling in the end. So that takes us to the last section of my presentation, which has to deal with academic integrity and being true to yourself. Now, academic integrity is basically a moral code or an ethical policy for academia. So it is a commitment that is made by teachers, students, researchers, and all members of the community to, at all times, even in the face of adversity, to practice the 6 fundamental values. So at all times, we will be honest, we will have trust, display fairness, respect, responsibility, and courage. So that is what we mean by academic integrity and being true to yourself. So how do we go about being true to ourselves and demonstrating that academic integrity? So we should avoid the following. So plagiarism. By that we mean the practice of taking other person's language, their thoughts, their ideas, or the expressions as our own original work. So we want to avoid that. Also, we want to avoid cheating, and that is acting dishonestly in order to gain advantage. And the most familiar example we can think of is cheating in an examination. We also want to avoid impersonation, that is the act of pretending to be someone else for the purpose of fraud. So we can think of possibly identical twins. A twin may present themselves as the other twin in order to write an exam for them. So that's impersonation. We have fraud, which is wrongful or criminal deception intended to result in personal gain or financial gain. So you do not want to falsify your reports and so on, and contributing to academic misconduct. And by that we mean any action or attempted action that would result in creating an unfair academic advantage for yourself, or it can also apply to somebody else where you have an unfair advantage or disadvantage to another member of the academic community. Now, all of these scenarios presented, the behaviors, the plagiarism, cheating, impersonation, and so on, all of those are behaviors that would constitute to academic misconduct. So as much as possible, employ you as you journey through the college and beyond to ensure that you practice academic integrity by being true to yourself and avoiding these 5 behaviors. So this takes me to the end of my presentation. I want to thank you. I want to wish you all the best for your semester and beyond. And I do hope that you enjoy your stay, your experience with the SALCC. Questions? Thank you.
Okay, so I think we have a question from Ivana. So go ahead, Ivana.
Is the Moodle an app, basically? So we download it and then we log in and we do the email and what's not?
Okay, so with Moodle can be used on the web. There is a desktop version that you can install on your computer, and there's an app that you could install on your mobile device. Okay, but we do caution students, do not use the app version when you're taking quizzes or you're doing exams online, because when you get a notification on your device, it treats it as moving from your exam window. So if you are going to use the app, be mindful that you should use the web-based version if you're doing exams. Okay? But the app does allow you to actually download your courses so that as long as all the data is there on the course, you may not need connectivity all the time to interact with your resources. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Any more questions?